What's up, chat? Welcome back to the stream. It is Monday. Finally, we are indulging in a little bit of mayhem. Much later than normal. I had to reschedule the stream because I drove back all the way from Captain Con today. There was no way we were going to get to the normally scheduled stream time. Unfortunately, it took me much longer to get home than I anticipated. Should have been about a four and quarter hour drive. Ended up being closer to 5 hours. So much later back than I anticipated. But we're finally here, ready to talk about some Warhammer 40k. That's what's going on. Super happy tonight. I think I have to cancel the Twitch stream tonight. I don't think there's any way that I get it done. I basically, because I am doing the Winter Ruin GT this weekend, and so I have to leave on Friday for that. I basically have like literally every hour of my entire week blocked. So being late here, I think is going to be tough. I don't think we're going to do a Twitch stream today. Anyway, chat, let's talk about some stuff. We had a crazy, insane weekend for Warhammer 40k. If you watched my video yesterday, it was absolutely nuts. We basically had like 30 events go down. The number of undefeated players was absolutely insane. A lot of the I would say like the average GT size, it seems like has increased. I don't know if that has been I guess we could just look. I have the list here. I don't know if that is like a fluke or just a single data point. Get out of here, Warhamster. We don't need you. It's not Wednesday. But a lot of these GTs were large enough to sustain multiple undefeated players. So the number of results we have is crazy, but the biggest one is this one right here. The ITT went down this weekend and blows, as far as I know, I'm sure someone can come and correct me here, but I believe this blows every other 40k team event ever played out of the water. I don't believe that there has been a bigger one. The WTC is typically, I wonder if I can find this. What's the 2025 WTC? I think it's like 420 players, right? Something like that. 40k World Team Championship. World Team Championship. Is there a BCP for that somewhere? Can I find that? Best comparing. Warhammer 40k WTC World Team Championship 336. And that's, I think that there was a 400. One broke 400 in Spain because they love team events over there, as far as I understand. I don't know if we've seen 800 players before. That's fucking crazy. It's so big. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. The ITT Winter International Team Tournament, 153 teams of 5 descended on Brighton on Dunsmore in the UK to play this event. Incredible turnout for this. And if we take a look at our placings here, if it will actually give me team placings, we had an insane number of undefeated players. I want to give some shout outs because a lot of these teams, this isn't the only large team event for the weekend, by the way. I think in total, in terms of team events put together, we had over 1,100, probably closer to 1,000 players in team events. This was 763 or 766. We also had, I think, another 150 out of Asia, and I believe another 120 or something out of Spain, I want to say, or Italy, I think. Either way, crazy weekend for Team 40k. But we want to throw some shout-outs. Obviously, Vanguard Tactics doing well. Incredible to see them do well. Tryhard Wargaming. We love those friends, those folks over there. Absolutely crazy. Won by Viesla, who I want to give a shout-out to. They have a great YouTube channel. If you want to watch Warhammer 40k battle reports, I'll just grab their channel and throw it out in the chat here. They are... it's gone. What have I done? What have I done here, chat? There we go. I found it. So they're based in Scandinavia, I guess. And they just basically upload a ton of like WTC format battle reports. I think that they just have people who just submit recordings of their games, and then that's what happens. Which is sick. It's super cool. So a lot of it's in English, some of it's in other languages, but a lot of them are in English, and usually they'll call out which events are English. You can see, like, I pointed it at the screen like you could see me. You can see there it's like subtitled that it's English, if it is an English stream, and it's not all European players. A lot of times it's like UK and American players who are playing in these events with all of these Scandinavian players. Absolutely sick. Yeah, it's good stuff. Mostly it's like POV stuff. It's basically the same stuff that I upload on my second channel. And so if you're interested in that, then there you go. I don't know if they do commentary quite as much. I think they might do a little bit, but yeah. I want to give a shout out to them because a lot of times they get really, really high top level players on their videos, and they also won the world's biggest team event. So that's cool. And let's talk about exactly what they won with. Now I will absolutely glaze them for having a cool YouTube channel and being generally sweet. I will not glaze them for having a highly diverse roster of armies. Here we go, chat. One thing that they did that was cool and Chad was Emil Solderholm played Deathwatch on their team. That's cool. There probably was some pressure to put Ultramarines in there, or maybe Salamanders to specifically defeat Catan Shards. I will say, as a little bit of a note to the format, it is 5-player teams, not 8-player teams. So I believe part of the arithmetic here is that while many times teams will bring specific armies to counter specific matchups, and then they will try to use the pairing process to get those positive matchups. In 5-player teams, that is much more difficult, and your matchups almost end up playing out like singles event games, where you just have 5 individual players, and because you have so much less control over the pairing process, because you have less pairing stages to go through, you are more incentivized to play strictly what is meta, rather than try to compose a team composition. And I wonder if the format would have changed their team building ethos were it to be a larger team pool. But in this case, we are running Deathwatch. Not to say, I guess, that Deathwatch are like not good, I guess. They are also pretty good into things like monsters vehicle spam, because you do have like army-wide lethal hits, and if you aren't super high armor save, like a lot of times they can punch through your stuff anyway. So, like, if you're spamming mass lethal hits with double Oath of Moment thanks to Tome with the Ectoclades, you don't really need to be, like, bringing Champion of Humanity to get around characteristic modifiers, because you can just dump bolter shots into Catan Shards or whatever and kill them that way. So, it's pretty good. I think that this list... this faction also tends to be kind of like table agnostic too in a lot of cases, because it can play really open tables as long as it can hide itself turn 1, and then it just like fully dumps its whole load on the battlefield round 2, and it doesn't really matter what the terrain is, and then it just like plays an attrition game out from there. So I think there's probably a couple benefits to playing Deathwatch versus one of the more meta builds, but otherwise the army was largely meta. But let's talk about exactly what they played. We had Gravis Armor Captain, Thief of Secrets, so we can buff both weapons. I still get comments about that, by the way, which blows my mind. So he comes with a Relic Chainsword, so 3 attacks, 4/1/2 extra, plus Power Fist 5 with a Boltstorm Gauntlet. That's 5 attacks, 8/2/2 as his main weapon. The extra attack weapon cannot have its attacks characteristic modified, but it can have its attacks modified. Just not the attack's value. My camera's a little bit low here. So, for example, if we have Thief of Secrets, it gives you +1 strength, AP, and damage. So it becomes 5/2/3 baseline. Then if he kills somebody, it doubles that bonus. So it becomes 6/3/4. So he has 3 attacks for 4 damage, and then his Power Fist swings at 10/4/4 as well. So he has 8 4 damage melee attacks, which is, it's crazy once he unlocks the mini mission of Thief of Secrets to kill something. That is absolutely legal. That's absolutely how the effect works. But I do get people who tell me that you cannot do that and that the extra attack weapon can't be modified. No, only the attack's characteristic can't be modified. The other stats are totally mutable. We have a Judiciary with Beacon Angelus, the classic combination. So you can rapid ingress, you're free with Beacon, heroically intervene, fights first with the Judiciary and kill somebody. I just made a short about how good rapid ingress is as a stratagem, and immediately someone was like, "I'll do this with my Judiciary with Beacon Angelus," and I was like, "I see you." And then we have a Watchmaster with Totally Active Clade, so we get double Oath once per game. He's going to hang out, I guess we have the Company Lieutenant to hang out, the Judiciary to hang out with Deathwatch Veterans. We have Intercessor Squad for the backline, JPI for utility, Fortis Kill Team. That's where the dude guy goes, the Watchmaster. The nice thing that lets you do is that you can use his free strat. You can actually duplicate the free strat, or you can double free strat because you have one on the Gravis Armor Captain. So you can use this on site-to-site teleport every turn on him and one other kill team. And then you can use the Fortis Kill Team with a Watchmaster attached to double target your special issue ammunition. So you can give people special bullets on 2 separate kill team units. For free as well. So you get both of those effects for 0, which is just an insane amount of command point economy. Plus you get indirect fire. Good in a lot of weird matchups like Eldar, Drukhari, I think. Just having like a bunch of castle launchers to clear all their combat squads out is kind of big. Then we have double Incursor squads, so we can give people +1 to hit. And then we have double Indomitor kill teams. Pretty standard stuff. We've seen this list before. It's not the wildest thing ever. What is also not wild are the other lists that they played. I will mention a lot of this stuff is pretty standard. It's Grizzled Company, it's command squads. There's a commissar, that human detail. The double command squad, I think we have double shock troopers, right? It's just one shock trooper. So it's a command squad with the Ogren. Yeah. A command squad with the Ogren, and then you dual attach the commissar with the Cadian command squad into the shock trooper unit, and the benefit there is if we take 2 Bulgren squads, show me 2 Bulgren squads. Oh, it's 1. Okay. Well, fair enough, I guess. He gets 2 orders, so he could order +1 to hit onto like Rough Riders and also on the Bulgren. Which is cool. We have Khazarkin, Vanquishers, Tempested Science. This is like a normal list. Is it Rogaldorn tank commanders? It is. It's 2 Rogaldorn tank commanders as well. So the full list is because Astro Militarum list, because they have all their special weapons, are like incredibly long and annoying. It's double Cadian command squads. It's a commissar. Tempestus command squads ×2. Benefits there is that they get the additional order, so they can actually hop in and command rod either themselves for double orders, or you can like disembark Khazarkin or something, or you can push with Attilan Rough Riders, and then you can drop the command squad's end of movement phase, and they can order end of movement phase as well, and they have extra orders to throw around, so they're just super useful. We have Ogre Bodyguard, double Rogaldorn tank commanders, plus Slime Marbo, little utility action. Torox, double Attilan Rough Riders, Bulgren, Khazarkin, double Lehman Rush Vanquisher. To best of science, yeah. I don't know. Grizzled Company. I got a comment at one point. Somebody was like, the Grizzled Company lists are all like very different. And I was like, I don't know. Are they? It's like 5 units, and then you just take 1 or 2 of one and 2 of the other. You know, you just change the proportion of each. Jesper Unander Shireen is playing Star Shatter Arsenal. I've seen this one again as well. I guess this one's got Locust Lord with miniaturized nebuloscope, so ignore cover. On Enmitic Exterminator Locust Heavy Destroyer, so we have like a big anti-infantry brick. It's kind of neat. They do get sustained hits, not lethals, on 5-ups, so they are good at volume. And then hitting on 2s, they can they're very consistent shooting as well if they shoot something on an objective for +1 to hit. With a Shard of the Deceiver, Shard of the Nightbringer, Hexmark Destroyer with Chrono Impedance for -1 damage. We pointed at the Silent King, and then you get the 3 big bricks in the middle. So Deceiver, Nightbringer, Silent King, all are -1 damage, all are high wounds count, all are high toughness count. Necrosaur, Amintar can hide behind them. This is like a little wombo combo. So the Hexmark Destroyer stands within 6 inches of the Silent King to project them -1 to damage. And then Necrosaur Amintar stands in front of him beside the Silent King to give the 5-up Feel No Pain against mortal wounds. The Hexmark Destroyer has Lone Operative, so can't be interacted with outside 12, and then grants Lone Operative to Amintar. So if you're not next to the units, you can't do anything about them. And if you charge into the Silent King, he just intervenes you. So he's like incredibly solid in the context of this little dude anyway, who you're probably already taking. And we'll take the Stormlord to generate commander points. We have a Locust Lord with Nebula Scope, like we talked about, 1 DDA, and some Ophidians and stuff for utility. I guess the Scorpic unit's kind of cool. That's neat, I suppose. Chaos Demons, shocking. It's Scintillating Legion. It is only 2 Lords of Change and Kairos, I guess, plus Bellicor. A Burning Chariot's kind of sweet. It's actually, I think, a little underplayed. The benefit there is that the Lord of Change can choose Ignore Cover as one of his effects on his Bolt of Change, but it is very, which is in many cases very slightly, marginally stronger than Sustain D3. I did the math at one point, and it's like basically the same, but I think Ignore Cover is incrementally better. It's like 5% stronger than the Sustain D3 in most cases. So if you can ting someone with the Burning Chariot to strip cover, then you don't have to choose Ignore Cover on your Bolt of Change, and you get the full power Bolt of Change when you go to do the Hulk Wombo combo. You do Pyrogenesis for strength 12 and plus 1 AP, so you go to AP3. AP3, Ignore Cover, and you start punching through even stuff with Armor of Contempt, which is something the demons have a tough time doing. So that's kind of important. The Infernal Puppeteer can also kind of Ignore Cover a lot of times by himself as well, because you can Infernal Puppeteer a line of sight that gets around your opponent's cover, because you draw a line of sight for the resolution of that attack to the model you're puppeteering through. If I remember correctly, it allows you to determine cover from that perspective as well, which means that you end up in a lot of cases being able to get around cover by just teleporting or running things to the correct positions, and then you do have an Ignore Cover outlet for the other Lord of Change too. So basically, all your guns can be Ignore Cover. We have double Flamers for utility, double Screamers to hold territory, plus Fleshhounds for utility. Scintillating Legion, probably I guess the highest performing demon detachment right now. Kind of not a huge shocker that ends up doing well. Just watched my game versus Catan spam. Which one was that? I played like every game against Catan shards in the last week. It was crazy. I haven't played against Catan shards on Saturday too. I think that the event I went to over the weekend, so for those who don't know, I did post on the community tab, and I've been posting about it in my Discord. But I played a GT over the weekend. I played Harry Dan. See how far I could get with a silly dragon in my army. And I believe that like my event I played in was like 17% Necrons or something insane. It was crazy. I hit them round 1, like immediately right off the bat. It's like, well, here we go, I guess. Rip this Band-Aid off real quick. It's been a nonstop Necron assault from the beginning. Absolutely wild. And then last, but certainly not least in this particular build, can be Catans, but you need to do damage. Yeah. So I'm interested to see how things roll out with the Catans, because I think that my perspective is, having played it like 10 times and then in a tournament that was like Necron dominated from a population perspective, absolutely insanely in favor of Necrons. I was like, what is the deal here? And I think that,
Briong 6931 donated $5 through Super Chat. Is Monday now Deep V Day, the shirt? Also, could we look at the Huron and Command Squad data sheet?
Monday's Deep V Day because I put a regular shirt on for my drive back. I didn't have a chance to change into an appropriately nerdy shirt, so this is just a regular shirt this time around. We can look at Huron and the Command Squad. After we talk about this stuff, we'll look at Huron and the Command Squad. I'm actually kind of psyched about them. I wanted to ask you, actually, because we were talking about doing Deceptors. I think there's some weird shit with the Masters of the Maelstrom with Deceptors. And depending on how long it takes to do to get the datasheet for them, I think it would be more interesting to play with Masters of the Maelstrom in that list rather than without it because they attach it to Legionnaire squads, which means all of this stupid shit that if I think that's correct, right? They attach the Legionnaires and Chosen and whatever the new unit does. All the stupid shit you do with Legionnaire squads that's attachment also could affect the Masters of the Maelstrom, which I think is kind of impactful. So I think it would be more interesting to play with that. Anyway, chat, we're talking about Tau. This is a Monka list. I don't know. It's like there's broadside battle suits, I guess. It's kind of cool. Throw rifles. But mostly also it's just like Monka stuff. Do we have to talk about Monka anymore? I'm tired of talking about Monka. All these Monka lists look the same to me. They're a little different. This one has double ethereal, so you get more spotting out of them. It doesn't have it has strike swiftly, so we have the scouting application, which is nice. I guess we could scout. Do we have a devilfish? We do have a devilfish. So we could scout the devilfish off of the breachers if we want to. Because we have all recon drone pathfinders, I think. Yeah, so all of the pathfinders are going to infiltrate scout, and then we can drop the breachers into the devilfish and then give it scout with strike swiftly, so it can scout 6, move 12, advance 6, disembark, shoot. So like top of 1, you can just be killing people. You can also give it to like the fire knife battle suits because they're relatively fast and long range as well, so they can peek really weird lines of sight. If your opponent misplaces their infiltrators, for example, this unit can just scout, advance, kill them top of 1, or threaten to kill anything that hops in and performs secondaries turn 1 as well without having to expose any of your more useful units. So I don't know. This is a list. This is one of the Tau lists of all time. These lists are very good. Huron can also go with Terminators. Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize that. He goes with Terminators because he's not a Terminator guy. That's weird, right? Isn't he power armored? Huh. Interesting. Masters of the Maelstrom are going to be a dope Death Star? Absolutely, dude. I think that unit actually slaps super hard. I think that unit's really cool. Now, what I want to talk about more interestingly here from the Winter ITT are the other lists that the other teams that did well. So congratulations to Viesla for winning the event. Although the lists that they took were kind of cookie cutter, to be honest. There's like slight mutations off of what is like hyper meta. They basically just took the top 5 armies in the game right now. And swapped Ultramarines for Deathwatch, which is like probably a defensible selection. But all of the other teams that went either X and 1 or X, O and 1 had some really bizarre compositions. And let's talk about those. So we'll talk about Sigil. Team Sigil went second place. They went 5-0, went to a top cut, played Fiesla, and then lost in the finals. And played, look at this, Orcs. And if we take a peek at the other lists that did well, I'm not going to bury the thumbnail lead here. Oop, let me go to the team placings. Come on, DCP. You for real? This website sometimes, man. I swear. God damn it. All right. I believe basically all of these played Orcs as well. So it was like downside is I have to click on this and then search for the team because I can't just look at it from the placings for some reason. So Welsh Rare Bits also played Orcs. Vanguard Tactics, congratulations to them for going X and for going undefeated. I guess they also played Orcs. Who else did we talk about? War Masters. Okay, come on. War Masters. I guess they dodged. They prevented the streak here and did not play Orcs. We saw Orcs from the 6th place team as well. So the interesting thing is that in this team format, Orcs were like highly preferred in many cases. And we'll talk about exactly why. A lot of times it's because they have incredible kind of like jail potential. If you go first with Warhorde and you can just set up on top of 1 and then wog turn 2 and just pin your opponent with just like engaging literally their whole army. Some armies physically can't deal with that. They can't. They don't have the late game to be able to stop that. And a lot of times what you'll do, and because this is a team format, this is very relevant, is you will push your opponent really hard, almost regardless of what they're playing. And in most cases, this case we're playing 40 boys, 20 Beast Nagas, 20 regular boys, double Battle Wagon, double Breaka, double Flash Kits, double Gretchen, Ludas, Knobs, Storm Boys. The activation count in these armies are crazy, right? So we have the Flash Kits, Breaka Boys, and Knobs are all 2 wound medium infantry. They are sitting inside battle wagons. So, right, these big, heavy, like basically heavy vehicles that you have to get through to then get to these models individually. So that you can play them incredibly disrespectfully to your opponent. You just run them to the middle. And your opponent, in many cases, does not have enough attacks to kill you before you score a bunch of points. Even if you lose, and the problem with orcs in a singles format is that your opponent will eventually kill you towards the end.
Adriong 6931 donated $5 through Super Chat. Oh cool, they have Vanguard on Slaughtnids. Carpet them with boys.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like that is maybe... I don't know. Who goes first in that matchup? Probably is like a lot. You just get jailed by Gene Stealers, like top 1. If you can't stop them. This list doesn't have commandos, right? So they actually just do die to Gene Stealers. I guess like they probably would just hide behind the battle wagons and then maybe be fine. So maybe it's okay. But the Gene Stealer unit will like absolutely slap one of these boys squads in one swing, and that's a little bit spooky. But you know, who knows? But the thing is that a lot of armies will beat this army in a singles format because what you'll do, like especially if you go second, orcs go first. They're like, I'm gonna set up. I'm gonna put everything mid. Round 1, round 2, I'm gonna wog and I'm gonna hit you with like 5 different units, and the whole army's gonna have an invuln save. I'm gonna commit all my boys. There's gonna be 40 boys in the middle with 5 up invuln saves. Deal with that, and you just ask your opponent to answer the question, and a lot of armies don't. At least early, you obsec a bunch of the middle objectives, and then your opponent comes back. They wrestle their way through. They score some secondaries. They arrest you off a couple of objectives, and by the end of the game, you both attritioned yourselves down to 0. Orc data sheets are like very marginally inefficient once the WOG is expired, so they usually will like lose one-on-one fights to a lot of units, and so you eventually get to the point where the other player wins by scoring like a 15 plus 10 secondaries bottom of round 5 and like nudges in ahead of you. So you see a lot of games where orcs like lose consistently by like 5 points. In a teams format, that's perfect. That's totally fine. So you can put orcs, and in some cases you can build them around. This is like the Mark Perry special. We saw this happen at Tennessee Elite Open. If you watched his game against T-Bird from Pro Tabletop, you basically build for a map and then you put them as first defender and you just say, I'm going to score like 85 points. Regardless of what happens, I'm going to score a minimum of somewhere around 80 some odd points. I've prepped this one deployment and I'm so good at it, right? And basically all I need to do is score highly enough to zero out whatever list you put up against me. And in a 5-player format where you don't have too much buffer between your defender lists, your like early round defender lists, and your real killers that you're trying to get big wins from, if you don't have enough armies that have positive matchups to the rest of the team, you can take orcs and put them early and then grab one of your opponent's really, really hard counter list. It's really good against the rest of your team. And you just zero them. You just basically draw them. And for that reason, orcs can be extremely effective in this style of format versus a singles format where they have to play more of a regular game and try to win consistently. They have a tough time winning consistently, but they don't have a tough time scoring 1,000,000 points. And so that's what we basically see going down. So Sigil decided to play them. They rocked a Blade of Ultramar. We threw Redemptor Dreadnoughts, Repulsor Executioners. I sleep. Cool, man. They rocked a Grizzled Company, It's a little worm. I like that guy. He's cute. It's a bunch of Militarum Tempestus, actually. That's kind of sweet. I do like this. He's named all of his stuff after Dune characters. I really hope. I don't know. I don't know what Gustavo Jose Branco Varandas de Sousa's deal is, but I hope that his army was appropriately modeled out. Back in the day, like 2012 or something, I played against a guy in a big like group game who had a fully kitted out. I think his army was like Space Marine Scouts. It was like a Raven Guard army, but he had it fully kitted out to be Fremen from Dune. It was so fucking cool. And I hope that this army looked like that. I'd be so in. We had one Rogaldorn commander. This is like just a bunch of infantry. Oh, this is actually kind of sweet. All right, this is much more interesting than we typically see. These are just spice harvesters. Sure. Triple chimeras, triple Kazarkin, combat engineers ×3, Tempesty Scions ×3. This is actually very similar to this orc list. I like this list a lot. This feels very teams coded. So it's one battle tank. A lot of times you like minimum 4 battle tanks and then like infantry plus cavalry. This is one battle tank. We're going to use that guy to sort of hold down the midboard. But then we have triple Kazarkin plus Chimera combos. So we can scout the Chimeras and then move them. And then I guess we can move 2. I don't think there's orders for the third one. Probably doesn't matter that much. But we run them up into the middle and then disembark the Kazarkin. You can hit people and you could jail them. Plus, we have a bunch of scouts from the combat engineers as well, right? So there are, if you count both the transport and the Kazarkin units, there are 9 scouting units in this army that can take the center of the battlefield. And then you're following that up with, you have Acadian Castellan, who I believe is a 2 base order, so he goes to 3, plus he dual attaches with the Acadian Command Squad, so he's another 2 orders. So you get 5 regiment keyword orders at 24 inches from the Master Vox. So you're going to be able to order tons of these Death Corps units to take over the center of the table after those guys go in. So you can set the line of scrimmage in your opponent's deployment zone. You can do some damage with the Kazarkin, and then you have these move 9 dudes that you can then swap into start of any phase with the stratagem to issue an order out of phase. You could swap them in a duty and honor to put 30 OC on objectives. So you can imagine like these guys just like move, and they run up next to like a Norn emissary, and then you just like swap it, and 6 models take the objective away. You swap the order, and then 6 models take the objective away. They don't have to do anything. They just run up to you. So this army is just all about objective control. That's much more interesting. Plus, you have all of these Deep Strikers as well, right? Just a ton of Tempestus Scions. Again, we talked about how good the orders are. The dual orders on the Tempestor command squads are as well. So you have 30 like of these specialist infantry that get hit rerolls or wound rerolls baked in that can come in afterwards. That looks kind of sweet. I like that. I think that's pretty cool. Adeptus Custodes also in here. Kind of cool to see out of the middle of nowhere. Is this like an Exodia reference, chat? Head of the Emperor, right arm of the Emperor, left arm of the Emperor. That's fair. That's very good. Yeah, head, right hand, left foot, right foot, torso. They go together, you get Exodia, the Destroyer or whatever. We just had a shit on a Norn? Yeah. Dude, I'm so over Norns. After playing them, we'll get our tactical tangent to shit on Tyranids for a sec. Now that I'm like, I just played like 12 games with Tyranids in a row. And the games with Norns were fucking miserable and bad. That unit is so dog shit. The game, as soon as I cut Norns from my list, I never looked back. Everything else in the faction is better than them. I have to imagine that expected versus real outcome for Norn emissaries is like must be one of the biggest differentials in the entire game. Where you're like, look at this big monster. Also, my Norn Emissary, literally before I went to live stream, I put something in my closet. That's behind me. My little Norn Emissary, it's on my desk. Fell over and broke. I'm so mad. But anyway, that thing sucks. it's so dog shit. If you catch it, not all that's subjective, it just dies immediately. It's like below average defensive characteristic. Oh my god, dude. No guns, can't shoot. Caps to strength 10 in melee. Stupid. We do have to shit on Norns, but they are OC 15. That's pretty cool. Being able to steal that with 6 guys, you know, being able to steal that with 30 points of guardsmen, it's kind of neat. So Talons of the Emperor, we talked about this list in my video this morning. I do want to mention as well that I did typo that video. Because the output always does this with its like low readout. I always get confused about how many custodians are in a unit. I should look at the points value, but I think it was like 11 p.m. and I was all bleary eyed because I'd played a full day of 40k, and I just didn't notice that the numbers. It's not the first time I've made that mistake, by the way, and I noted it as 4 units of 5 and 2 and 2. 4 units of 5, 2 units of 4. It is in fact the other way around. This is the standard, the now standard Talons of the Emperor build. Double 5s, quad 4s, a bunch of Anathema Psychona, triple Land Raiders. And you just play basically like this huge stat check. You have high OC, hyper lethal infantry that hop out of the Land Raiders, and the Land Raiders can give you good shooting. Plus, you can react to move in and out of the Land Raiders with the detachment ability. The Anathema Psychona protect the Land Raiders. It's a bunch of good stuff. They're very, very nice. It belongs on the floor. What about 6 Norns? We played 6 Norns for a while. I actually played, that was like back when Accursed Cultists were really good, and we played that matchup and then realized that like the profile matchup between Accursed Cultists and Norn Emissaries was like super bad for the Accursed Cultists. And it actually ended up being incredible. In that one mission, that one matchup. Like a Forge Fiend would shoot at them, but because it was like it was pre-Vashtor buff or whatever, they were like strength 10, so they would win on 5s, and then they would dev, and the devs would go to the 4+ field pain, and then the Norn would just swing 10 times into the Accursed Cultist unit, and every swing would pick up a guy. It was pretty wild. It worked shockingly well in that one matchup, which was weird. Norn assimilators, trash though. Absolutely unmitigated disaster of a unit. So bad. Why are they range 12? Who knows? Last but certainly not least, on the second place team here, Samuel Martin played Halo Screed Battleclade. Engine Seer plus Belisarius Call. We had double Rangers, which is kind of the standard loadout, double Iron Strider Balisari. A bunch of Cerberus Raiders, which is interesting. So we are also fairly I guess secondary coded, because we have a bunch of these 9-inch scouters that can run up in the middle of the battlefield turn 1. We have double Servitor Battleclade, Infiltrator plus double Ruststalker, all 10s, which is fascinating. You do get, I guess, the Infiltrators. I guess there's no like redeployment or anything, so you don't want to put the Infiltrators too far forward. I don't know what I'm curious what the terrain format was, actually. Was it UKTC or was it WTC? Is there an external link here? There is. It was a UKTC event. I have to imagine that it was UKTC mission for terrain format. Oh, okay. All practical information. Coventry Winter. Oh, this is all like venue info. Guess I'll go fuck myself. I guess it must be using this mission pack, or this terrain pack, right? The reason that that's relevant is because the position that the infiltrators take is really important. Because Halo Screed Battleclade has really easy access to advance and charge and enhanced critical hits, the infiltrator unit's really scary But if you have a good place if you can win the roll-off to go first, and you have a good place to stage them in the center, you can block other people's infiltrators from coming in, and that gives the Cerberus Raiders greater agency up the table if you get first turn. So if you're in like setups like this, I think, I guess a lot of these, like with the big L ruin, have a really solid place for the dig 10 man to hop into. So that's probably helped quite a bit there. Where did my list go? Here we go. But a lot of times you'll see multiple smaller units of infiltrators as well in order to block off the deployment slots for the big unit. And then it's interesting that we took the big unit and then also big Sicarian Restarker units. I think the most common list I've seen in singles events has just been like 110 of each and then 5s, so just a bunch of 5s for the rest. But we do have Scorpius Disintegrators to get the buff from the Tech Prestensions here as well. So we can trade shots with big stuff. It was UKTC? Awesome. Thanks, chat. You're the best. Only in UK do they think UKTC is good? Well, that's what they use, chat. I don't know what to tell you. It's kind of like how only in Europe do they think WTC train's good. I don't know. Just basically said the same thing. Moving down the line, that's all the lists for the second place placer. We can talk about some of the XO and 1s if we would like to chat. We got for time. Not even an hour. Got plenty. Heard a term babysitting in the context of a Grey Knight player not wanting to bring Grey Knight to a team's tournament. I don't know what that means. It might have been that, like, I don't know. If they're playing something that they didn't want to, I don't know. Maybe it was that they had to be babied in the pairing process because their faction would have been slightly worse, I guess. I don't know. We did have some interesting results from the third place placer. So the Welsh team, yeah, I would guess that would be what it is. It's like if I play Grey Knights, like you would have to go out of your way to give me good matchups, I guess, is what I would guess. But it could mean a lot of things, right? It could also mean that, like, if they played something that wasn't Grey Knights, I wouldn't know how to play it. So like I would need help or something. I don't know. That does happen a lot where you find, like, in some cases you have teams that like practice together and you'll see almost in team events, like the 40k always have this insane skill discrepancy between someone who's enfranchised and someone who is relatively newer. Like the level of skill difference between two people, even on the same record in like an event, can be crazy. And teams, I think, get that even harder because you have some teams that either practice solely their team faction and they don't prep for singles as much or at all. And then you get people who are playing their singles factions, what they play in teams. And a lot of times what happens is that because you can't duplicate teams and factions, players, if you have assembled a team from people who are used to playing singles events, a lot of times you will have to swap players out of their chosen faction, out of their natural faction, into something else, which means that, like, you compound the fact that a team that's prepping for teams already knows, like, if they're playing weird off-the-wall factions, like Orcs we just talked about, all these teams playing Orcs over here, because they can be so beneficial in the team format. And whereas they might not do, though, that in singles events. And if you had to switch somebody off of, like, you know, Ultramarines, because, like, you can only have one Space Marine player, and you put them on Orcs because it's beneficial to the team format, they have to do so much more legwork to unlearn all their Marine habits to then learn an Orc playstyle. And so the team has to take that into account. And sometimes you see people who get, like, what is otherwise, like, what would be like a green matchup, and either, like, they fumble the bag or they can't 20-0 it because they just aren't as practiced with the army as they would be otherwise. Anyway, we can talk about the Welsh team, third place over here, who also ran orcs. They ran Tau, which I imagine is sort of the same stuff. Yeah, Monka with things. The Monka lists are like, the bones is so similar. Every list is double battlesuit plus Vespid, triple Riptide battlesuit. Between 2 and 3 Pathfinder teams. Usually it's like one breacher, but this one's running strikes
399 donated $2 through Super Chat. Quick, can a rubric unit use temp surge on itself?
It can. You can cast rituals on yourself. You target a friendly unit within 24 inches in line of sight. You are a friendly unit within your own 24 inches in your own line of sight. So you can do that. Yep. Yes, indeed. Although I think there's an open question if the sorcerer is the only model alive. I think that if you've killed all the rubrics, it's just the aspiring sorcerer. I'm not 100% sure, but if you have any other models in the unit that you can see, you're good. There's like an open question that's I think never been answered, is if a model can draw line of sight to itself, which is very rarely relevant because very few effects target friendlies in line of sight. It's like that, and like there's like that one enhancement in Grey Knights, and there's like a couple other things. And I think the rules is written is no, but they also kind of doesn't make sense. It's like a weird thing. Any thoughts on Necrons not being as dominant as Reddit melted down about? I mean, they are very dominant. I don't want to say that they're not, but I do think that there's so much counterplay, and the faction itself is like very straightforward. I could talk about my thoughts either today or tomorrow, like later this stream or tomorrow. I don't want to disrupt the discussion of this list. But I do have some thoughts about the status of 40k of the Necrons in the current metagame for sure. I should play the Land Raider Custodies list, but it's like meta. I don't know. Do I want to play meta list? Rage Cursed Onslaught got played. Cool. I will say there is a downside to a lot of these factions being very mono list. I can tell you this was Biosank Breed Church before I clicked on it. Where it's like Mod Kai is like 100 points different between different builds. Rage Cursed Onslaught is just like one build now. It's so few build variety, so little build variety in Blood Angels currently. And I think a lot of armies are like that. Ultramarines is basically like, did you decide to do Gladius or Blades, but you just play the same list either way? It's like, okay. A Brood Surge, Triple Abominant, 1 Biophagus, probably for Metamorph Hybrids. Patriarch for Big Gene Stealer Squad, double Reductus, plus a Sanctus for Infiltrate. Hand Flamer Boys ×2. Auto Pistol Guys. Trucks ×2. Aberrants. Ooh, big Aberrant Squad. That's cool for the Infiltrate enhancement. Plus we have 1 Ridge Runner for Crossfire. Metamorphs for the Biologus Putrefier. No, the Biologist in there. And or the guy, what the fuck is his name? Jesus Christ. Biophagus. Oh my god. Plus Pure Strain Gene Stealers ×2. 10 for the big guy, and we have a little scouting unit or an infiltrate unit in addition. I am clearly too tired for this, apparently. Falling apart, chat. Oh. Just play it bad. Listen, it's not a meta list if you just lose with it. Clearly. I'll do my best, chat. I don't know. Sometimes even I win games that I think I'll lose. Can you imagine? The orc list is a little bit different than the last one we looked at. It is Warhorde as well, with Gaskell and the other thing.
Adriong 6,931 donated $2 through Super Chat. Oh. Also Mutilators are back. Preview today.
I did see that. That was cool. I think they talked about that earlier, right? Like they were like spoiled on a stream, I think. I want to say that they had already showed them. That was not a surprise to me. He needs to have Belial. Please no. Please no Belial. The difference in this list is that we're like activation maxing even harder. So it's 3 units of boys instead of 2, so 2 10s and a 20 instead of the 2 20s. We have 2 10s of flash gets plus a 5, and then 15 knobs, a 10 and a 5, and that's going to be for war bosses to hop into, it looks like, as well. So we have more big punchy activations. So this one's it does a little bit more damage, I guess, than the other one that we just talked about. But it's largely going to be in there for a lot of the same reason. What's interesting is that I don't think anyone played like the super hefty scoring orc lists. We'll look at Vanguard Tactics orcs real quick. What, did I misspell this? Oh, there it is. No. Oh, I think I might have misspelled Vanguard. The Ben Jones orc list was also Warhorde. No, this was the same. Yeah, interesting. Because there are more DACA builds that are like just all about scoring points, and I'm actually surprised we didn't see any of those. Yeah, they're all Warhordes. Interesting. I was expecting to see a little bit more DACA, or even a Big Hunt sometimes is like okay in that format. But it might have also been a terrain thing. I think those big staging things that we talked about, if we go back to the terrain, is very good for Gaskell's unit. Because if you can get him into that big L, your capacity to threaten a WOG, like follow me lads, advance and charge, is crazy. Because the total threat range amplification from that detachment is kind of insane. So if you haven't seen that list in particular, you get to stick together Here We Go for +2 to advance and charge. You WOG so you can advance and charge, so you're +4 in your threat range. And then you have Follow Me Lads on the tractor guy, the tractor cannon guy. So you get +2 movement, so you're moving 8 inches, advancing D6 +2 re-rolling. So you're moving a minimum of 10 plus D6 re-rolling and then charging 2D6 +2. So your threat range is like astronomical. And the fact that you move so far allows you to slingshot Gaz, do a lot of weird stuff. Because you have 23 models in the unit, you can do a lot of like bizarre coherency change that I think a lot of people wouldn't necessarily expect. So like you can like charge a target and then ring it with boys so that nothing can base, and then Gaz can slingshot to the side and hit a second unit, and you get both of them. That's kind of the idea. And then you have 20 models with the 5-up invuln save that they have to chew through. It's very rare they kill the boys and Makari and Gaz on the WOG turn. And so you just get to hit with Gaz a second time is typically the play pattern. That's normally the idea. But sometimes we do see armies that are focused like very heavily on like bikers and storm boys and stuff, and all they do is they just print money. They get that points, those delicious points. All right, chat. Do we want to talk about some spoilers and stuff? I'm into do some discussion about the stuff that was just released, I think. I think that's basically all I'd say about the ITT. A lot of the list is I think because of the team format, like I talked about before, the 5-player team format does make it very it incentivizes you to play more meta stuff, and that's basically what we saw happen, where a lot of these armies were just like a sequence of meta stuff. But the one takeaway I saw was that orcs were like super highly widely played. I don't know if necessarily that the fact that VSL did not play them was huge. It does look like, I mean, they basically did what we said on the tin, where orcs played in early and they scored a bunch of points even though they lost. So they 13-7'd, but they probably had it to try to like 10-10, I guess. Lords of Change are very good at orc profiles, by the way. Shooting like mass strength 10, like high volume, multi-damage especially, so you can't like cheese out saves with knobs and stuff, is very difficult to fight as an orc player. So if the the Lords of Change just stack up on Gaskell's unit, they could just burn it down like very quickly. And that gets unfortunate. They're not blast, which is nice, but they do have enough punch to kill the unit pretty quickly. Especially if you can do weird chicanery with teleports and Infernal Puppeteer to get them before they hit the Wog turn. Then they're just punching right through the armor. You don't get a save. They just kill you. All right. I think we talk about some Warhammer community stuff before we hop off. There's the new Mutilators. I'm curious what they do. I don't think they talked about anything really what they do. They're big guys with swords, I guess. Thanks, G-Dub. The swords for arms. Neat. I don't know. I think they look good. I'll be interesting to see if they can beat the allegations, because they're previously, I think when they were released, and I think even through 8th edition, I played when they were first released when I was a kid, and then I played in 8th edition when they were still viable, and they got legended. I think I started 9th. But they were very clearly one of the worst units in the entire game. And it wasn't, I think, particularly close. They were like super slow. Their melee profile was inconsistent, but the difference between them and Obliterators, they used the same mechanic as Obliterators, where you previously would just randomly roll what their melee profile was. And the difference between them and Obliterators is that with Obliterators, you can roll their profile and then choose your target. So if you're like, oh, I rolled 1 million shots, I can just shoot the infantry squad over there. But if I rolled Melta, I'll just shoot the tank. That's not how it works now. Now that it's just choose, and I'm sure that's what these guys will do, which is much better. But when you charge someone, you really need to know what your offensive profile is, because you don't have any options. If you charge a tank and roll anti-infantry melee attacks, you're fucked. And they just didn't give any consideration to that. They're like, no, it's fun and random. And you're like, so I'm going to play a movement 4 unit that cannot choose its melee profile against the thing it targets. That's nuts. That's nuts and bad. And so, plus they're expensive. It was wild. They're incredibly inept as a unit. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll see a glow up for them. That'd be cool. Slow melee units are bad. In the year of our Lord, 2020, when Rapid Ingress was still 5 years away from releasing, could you imagine a melee unit with a boobed characteristic of 4 would not be optimal? Say it ain't so. I would never. We can talk about the new data sheets momentarily. Huron and the Masters of the Maelstrom. I will say, I am disappointed in my girl, the Enforcer. Let's talk about Huron first, I guess. So he's kind of an amped Chaos Lord profile now. He's base T5, but has a 5-up Feel No Pain, so he's unironically kind of tough to kill. And then all of his abilities, he doesn't have any leader effects. He has Deep Strike, which is cool. And then I guess we could join him into Terminators, which is cool also. I don't know if that's good. Maybe it is. A reactive move on Terminators, is that okay? But the thing is, too, is that he projects an OC aura. And then his reactive move is moved to D6, D3 plus 3, and is once per battle round, whereas I believe the original version was once per game, right? Not that that's going to be wildly different, but there's going to be some weird times where it's very relevant. We'll just look up his previous data sheet real quick here. Once per battle, D6 inches. Now it's once per battle round, and it's D3 plus 3 inches. Significantly stronger effect. which is cool. The other thing, I think there's going to be some weird times as well, like depending on how expensive this guy is, where you just drop him as an OC amp because he amps all Heretic Astartes infantry OC within 6 inches by 1. Previously, it was joining the unit. So you can do like bizarre stuff where he just goes into reserve and then you rapid ingress him out of deep strike to pump your objective control to steal objectives from people. Like if your opponent you have like, I don't know, let's say we have Cypher on an objective and your opponent goes, I'm going to contest, not control. And they put their dude next to Cypher. You just drop Huron, end of movement phase, and now Cypher's OC2 and takes the objective back. Right? Like, there's going to be weird shit that happens like that, which I think is really sweet. Also, his melee weapon's kind of cool. What I am sad is that he lost his alternative melee attack. So previously, he had a 5-2-2 melee profile, which was kind of bad. But then his claw was a sweep. And I am sad that he now just has a big axe. Like, the claw isn't represented whatsoever. I think it would have been cool for him to also have a sweep profile, because that's not something you see very often. It's very rarely useful, because usually it's only good against like specifically T4 1 or T3 1 wound, right? That's the only time it's actually better, essentially. But like, I don't know, that's just kind of fun to be able to have a dude who just swings in 10 times and like clears a whole guardsman squad. So I don't know. I think that was also an interesting thing that Huron did that was very unique. It's very rare to have infantry characters with a sweep profile. And I thought it was cool. I don't know. I'm less excited about the discount.
Griong 6,931 donated $2 through Super Chat. Huron be stealing the booty.
Huron be stealing the booty. Yeah. Thank you for the Super Chat. He's like a discount Marnius Calgar. He's exactly Marnius Calgar, but doesn't have twin links, which I think is I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on for a second here, because, and the only reason I know this is because I did a lore short for, I think it was for Arthur Bones, at one point, where I talked about Marnius Calgar, because we did a collab, and it turns out, if you dig into lore deep enough, the Gauntlets of Ultramar are actually a chaos artifact. I'm going to put my tinfoil game mechanic hat on, my Ludo narrative hat, and say this is a callback. The Tyrant's Claw being a corrupted power fist or a lightning claw kind of thing. Having the same profile as the Gauntlets of Ultramar, but there's only one of them, so it's not twin-linked. It makes sense, chat. Half-Life 3 confirmed. I don't know. I just think that they give him a good melee attack, I guess. AP3 melee, we're back to 9th, boys. Yeah, so true. Yeah, I was getting hit by Lords of Contagion over the weekend, and I was like, what a time. What a time to be alive. Lethal Sustain, Strength 9, Lance. I was like, this does indeed feel like 9th edition again. Although he didn't take +1 or -1 to save as his contagion, so he was an AP3. So I did actually get to save against him, which is very nice. Should we talk about Masters of the Maelstrom? So I'm actually significantly less excited about Huron than I am about the Masters of the Maelstrom. I like that Huron has the OC bump, which is cool, steal people's booty away. But he's otherwise just kind of like a mid beatstick character. Like, he doesn't have any actually offensive, like, buffs, right? He doesn't let you do damage. If you just kill your opponent by using Abaddon or something, it's going to do more. So I think that's kind of weird. He seems, like, cool, but maybe kind of mid. Unless he's cheap, and then you're excited about it. However, Masters of the Maelstrom do have the potential to be legitimately transformative. So they embed to a chosen Legionnaire or Red Corsair unit. However, they cannot join an attached unit, and only Huron can join the unit once it's joined. I had a question. I didn't look this up. I probably should have. But if you use was it called Falsehood? Is that what it is? In Deceptors. I'm Deceptor pilled because we built Deceptor list on stream the other day. Yeah, Falsehood. If you use Falsehood we can attach the Masters of or embed the Masters of the Maelstrom to a Legionary unit. The unit is not an attached unit. Only Huron can join. However, the falsehood bearer can choose that unit and attach it as a leader during the game. The question is, does that get blocked by the join a unit clause? I'm not sure. And also, what happens if you can't join? Does the lore just show up and then not attach? I have no idea. If he can attach, that's fucking sick. This becomes insane, actually. If this works, I guess, like, where does the join verbiage get used? Is that in battle formations only? I'm really curious about this. Just looking at the core rules. If I look up the word join. Wait a minute. Does nothing say join in the entire rulebook? That's crazy. Oh my god. What a mess. The core rule says character units with the leader's ability merge into other units. That's stupid. I imagine you can't, but I think that blue screen's the game. You just have two directly conflicting rules. So that needs FAQ. If you are able to put a character using falsehood into a Master of the Maelstrom Legionary unit, fucking sick, dude. The thing that this enhancement does, which has never been errated and is a hidden benefit of the enhancement, is that it gives you +2 to charge out of Deep Strike. Because it destroys a unit and then you can set it up such that you can place the Chaos Lord within 9 inches of an enemy. Which is kind of sweet. So if you're able to do that, you could get a big Legionnaire squad plus Masters of the Maelstrom to get a 7-inch charge out of Deep Strike. Is that good? I don't know. Is it cool? Absolutely. Very cool. Good old GW rules, indeed. In fairness, we're talking about rules that haven't been released yet. So, like, there are I'm sure a series of FAQs to be made, but hopefully they don't forget about the incredibly meta detachment of Deceptors, which needs about 10 pages of FAQs to work correctly. In any case, the Masters of the Maelstrom are really cool. They have an apothecary with them. This is like an incredibly difficult data sheet to parse because it's 5 separate epic heroes. So fortunately, they did a cool thing, which I appreciate, which is that they gave every single one of the melee attacks almost identical stats. So you can fast roll tons of them. So you in most cases will not have to split these up. For example, the Master of Executions guy, his melee attack is identical to everyone else with a 2 damage melee attack, except for the keywords. So if you don't have a character in the unit you are attacking, and there's no anti-psychic defense happening, then you can fast roll most of these attacks altogether. Which is sweet. So in total, it attacks 11 times with 6/2/2 and 10 times with 4/2/1, hitting on 2s and 3s respectively. Which is, first of all, kind of nuts. 10 6/2/2 if you're in a Legionnaire squad, full wound rerolls. What the fuck? With sustained hits, because we're gonna Dark Pact, obviously. That's like we're already off to a good start. And then you get a 10 more 4/2/1 with the same effects. That's so many AP2 melee attacks. It's insane. Plus, you have like 2 power fists in the unit you're joining into as well. Plus whatever they got going on. It's actually kind of sick. I'm into it. The big downside is that you can only have Huron Blackheart join, which is a little bit weird because there's no like actual synergy between them. which is, I don't know, it's kind of strange. It's not like the Wardens of Ultramar where they apply -1 to wound when you join Titus. So you're like, oh, I could take Titus, make a Death Star unit. They actually don't do anything. So I think you're almost certainly more likely to see Masters of the Maelstrom by themselves than Huron played anyway. Which is weird. I don't know. So I don't know why they did that, but it is what it is. So you can either gain command points from their apothecary guy, or you can regenerate models back to the unit. Here's an important note, though. It says non-character model. The unit is, in fact, not a character unit. They're epic heroes, but they are not characters, because otherwise they would score Assassinate 5 times, which would be bad. So you can lose, like, Captain Sargoda, who's a 3-wounder, and then just regenerate her at full. So this unit also basically like triples the size of your Legionnaire squad that you're joining it into. Fucking crazy. It gives you redeployments, up to 3 Heretic Astartes units, no keyword restrictions. It also works while they're in a transport as well. Incredible. And once per game after you end a normal move, you can drive by people for D3+1 mortals randomly. Visible enemy unit within 12. This unit absolutely fucks. It's so good. We'll see what the points are. They could make it like 160 points or something, and then you'd be like, nah, I don't know. But if it's Warden of Ultramar cost in chat and it comes in at like 120 or something, 130, fuck me, they're gonna be good. This also has the Warden of Ultramar effect where it has toughness 4 models in it, so that you ignore the toughness 3 models in the unit. And because it's not a leader, it's not a character, and it doesn't form an attached unit. It doesn't follow any of the normal like bodyguard and leader rules. So you can assign damage to like Captain Sargoda and kill her, and then reanimate her with the apothecary guy, and you don't care that she's lower toughness. I guess the one downside is it has no invuln saves. But I guess it's a small downside. It's a small price to pay for adding fucking 18 wounds to your unit. Holy shit. It also shoots okay, I guess. The Enforcer shoots 3 times at 411. You have an Absolver bolt pistol and a cool D6+1 damage psychic attack, which is pretty sweet. Not that exciting, but definitely nothing, like, not terrible. I am a little sad that the Enforcer kind of sucks, though. The Enforcer's T3, not T4 like the rest. She has lower wounds, and she has 1 melee attack, which is wild. She has this 1 622 melee attack in here, which blows my mind. I don't even know why she's in the unit. You wouldn't miss her. But anyway, I think this unit's sick. I think it's absolutely insane. I'm so excited. Katana characters, yeah, like Greater Demons, not Imperial Knights. Like, there's a bunch of shit that the anti character is gonna work on. But if you're just like beating up on fucking random Space Marines, you can just fast roll all 11 2 damage melee attacks, which is pretty good. I wonder what the value is at which this unit would be bad. It's probably like, I don't know, 160 or something, 170. There's going to be lists where you play them in like Creations of Bile, probably, where they fuck super hard. They just like, they so tremendously multiply the damage output of a Legionnaire squad, or even Chosen if you're just like spamming the raw melee like attacks, that once you stack offensive buffs on them, like plus strength so they can wound to T12 more easily, or like plus toughness so that their wounds go farther, this unit just hits like it's just like, it's so multiplicative, it's crazy. I think there's going to be a lot of lists that use these guys, are just going to be amazing. Plus, just having a redeploy for anything is crazy good too. I don't know. This is like just one of the neatest releases. I think it's so cool. Does Huron have the Chaos Lord keywords so you can add a Master of Executions to the squad? You cannot add a Master of Executions to this squad. He is also not a Chaos Lord. He is simply Chaos. Yeah. But you can't You cannot add, regardless of whatever else goes on, you cannot add any character besides Huron Blackheart to the unit. Period. End of story. Which probably also means the falsehood thing doesn't work. But if it did work, it would be amazing. All right, Chant. Was that all the stuff we were going to look at today? I think it was. Yeah, Mutilators and those new data sheets. I'm so excited to see their points value. I think that's going to be sick. Look at these guys. He's like Sorcerer guy's really cool. I like this dude. Oh, I didn't notice that the the pirate lady had like a little hover like disc, like a little hover drone she flew around on. That's so silly. Why does she have that? She should be mounted just to fuck with everyone. And I guess we have to know what these guys do too. There may be crazy synergy between the Red Corsairs and this whole like combined unit. We'll see. I sort of doubt it. None of these models have effects that work very like synergistically with anything, but I don't know. She's aura farming. Everyone else is like fighting for their lives, and she's like got her hands behind her back, just floating around. How can her hoverboard fit inside the Land Raider? Bro, they fit Centurions inside a Land Raider. You can fit anything inside a Land Raider. It's like Dark Age technology shit where they shrink you down or something. Probably. They also showed off new Iron Warrior guys. Did they? Not the Mutilators. Is it a different new Iron Warrior? There's for Horus Heresy. Who cares? Yeah, I did see that the Corsairs were going to be 3 wounds. She's Michelle Rodriguez. She does look it. I could buy that for sure. 3 wounds infantry is interesting. I think that there's so much potential for 3 wound infantry. I mean, we've already seen it so many places in Chaos Space Marines with Fellhammer Siege Host and Creations of Bile that I think I don't know. More 3 wound infantry can only be good for this faction for sure. Anyway, chat, I think that's going to be all I have to talk about today. I will. Oh, do you mean the Warsmith? Is that who you're talking about? That's just one dude, right? This guy? I did see that guy. Oh, there is a unit. Okay, no, I forgot. No, I'm just an idiot, chat. Yeah, there's these guys. That was just like like last week or whatever. I just hadn't streamed it. Yeah. This guy was like a total meme, right? This dude with the silly face. Interesting to see what happens with them. This is just an upgrade sprue though, right? Yeah, it's an upgrade kit. So it's probably not like a whole new unit, I assume. Sets of head, shoulder pads, and accessories that look great on Legionnaires, Terminators, and Chosen. Yep. So these aren't actually models. These aren't actually units. They're just upgrade sprues. But the Warsmith is going to be a big deal. He's cool as fuck. Big Terminator boy. It's a siege engine as powerful as any tank or demon engine. Which means he's probably strength 8. Strength 8 AP 2. 3 damage. Devastating. What a time to be alive. And he has a cool Storm Bolter that's going to be strength 4 AP 0 for 1. I guess he also has a flamethrower. He'll shoot a little flamethrower. That'll be cool. That'll be 2 damage probably. There are also Heresy Iron Warrior guys as well. Just in case there was a confusion, I guess. It was. I don't know anything about Horus Heresy. It was these guys. Just Terminators, I guess. I don't know. They look fine. It feels like they were like, oh, we're making new Cataphractii Terminators. Like, while we're at it, we'll just make this dude. Could you just send me the STL and I'll fuck it up for a Chaos guy? Like, yeah, sure, man. Here you go. Okay, I made a Chaos man. I added a bunch of bits. I made a new Chaos guy. I'm excited for this dude. It's gonna be like a whole new Chaos Space Marine faction, basically. After we get 2 new characters and 2 new units, that's crazy. That's basically a Codex release out of season. Kind of sweet. Hopefully they're good. Hopefully they're not super. Oh, 3 new units actually. 3 new units because the Mutilators come out. So that's a lot. That'll be a lot. Anyway, chat. I think I'm gonna hop off. We are pretty late today, so I don't think we're gonna do any Twitch, unfortunately, today, but I will be live tomorrow. I'm actually live bright and early tomorrow morning with some Twitchies. And then so it'll be 10 a.m. US Eastern tomorrow. And then I think what we'll probably do is do like a standard meta recap for Tactical Tuesday. I'll set up the event for that right after this stream goes down. If you are looking for Tyranid content, I will probably have a new video available for members, most likely tomorrow. And then I will also be doing a recap of my games at Captain Con. I don't know when it's going to be out, though. That's going to be a much more in-depth project, so that'll be a whole thing. But otherwise, I'm going to be live streaming, and I'll send you over to the event for this. I'll be live streaming at the Winter Ruin GT, which just got approved for its golden ticket. So it's going to be kind of a high competition sort of situation. And there's a ton of really, really powerful players who are going there. So it's going to be really exciting. That's going to be starting on Saturday. We're going to stream Saturday and Sunday. And then we'll be off to doing other stuff. I think we'll probably talk about Astra Militarum next week. If we had to do a meta breakdown. Sort of how to beat them. Anyway, I'll see you all, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. Keep it classy, folks. And I will see you all tomorrow morning. Cheers, everyone.